What's cooking, Juventus fans? Welcome back to your old lady's favorite YouTube channel. Now, we have one name, obviously you guys know who I'm talking about, that has resurged when it comes to Juventus. Could he return to the club? He's going to be polarizing, as well as we've got to talk about the coach that we currently have and some of the maneuvering that may be going on by Max Allegri. Stick with us. We'll fill you in. Ciao ragazzi, welcome back to the Bianconerizonechannel. My name is Justin Sofro. Today it is Friday, October 28th, 2022. And of course, I've got your latest rundown of all things Juventus, all the news you care about each and every day. Before we do anything though, do me a solid favor, smash that like button, hit that subscribe button, of course, hit that bell icon to stay notified for all of our latest videos. Now, without further ado, I think I'm just gonna go ahead and jump into this thing and get you the news right here on a silver platter. All right, very first up, let's talk about this. This is a name that's gonna excite probably a good portion of the fan base, I would say. I know there's plenty of you that are still out there. Nico Schida is reporting that Houssem Aouar's contract with Lyon expires in June of 2023, and there is no agreement for the contract extension for the player. So the midfielder could actually leave the club in January. Now, the two teams that are interested in him, of course, are Roma and Juventus have asked for information on the player. Interesting, obviously, definitely a player that Juventus were hot on a few years ago. For looking back, 2018, 2019, 2017, whatever, somewhere in that time frame, anywhere between there and 2020, Juve were hot on the trail for Houssem Aouar. It never was to be. Is now the opportunity to bring in the player, or has his time passed? Let me know if you'd still be interested in the player. There's also been rumors I've seen floated out there now about Juventus going back in, maybe for the idea of Davide Fratesi, who is there at Sassuolo, another midfield option Juve could look at, especially if given there have been latest reports too that the idea of Leandro Paredes is just not working out at Juventus the way that they would have liked, and now they're looking at different options that you could bring in, one of those being Houssem Aouar. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. All right, let's continue on. We've got to talk about this coaching situation and all that's going on right now with Juventus. We have the last four, and it's 5 matches, but really, I'm sorry, it's weird for me to say this. I personally don't really care that much about the PSG match. It doesn't mean anything. Juve are done in the Champions League. The game means nothing. I would imagine players like Messi aren't going to play and waste their time, or potentially risk injury in a meaningless match against Juventus, which is weird to say, right? So let's focus in on the Serie A and what will happen there for Juventus and with Max Allegri and his decision making. All right, first up, we got to talk about the lineup. And the reports are out there right now about the lineup that he could be using. Corriere dello Sport is saying that Allegri will not take a risk with Dusan Vlahovic. Moise Kean and Milik are expected to start against Lecce. Now, this kind of conflicts with some other reports out there. I think even Romeo Gnesti had come out within the last few hours saying he expects actually Juve to start in a 4-3-3. So it really depends on how Juve will maneuver this moving forward. Are they going to play in a 4-3-3? Are they going to play in a 3-5-2? And who will they utilize? If Moise Kean can play at least up to par of what he's been doing, at least put in that physical effort out there, that's meaningful. And then, of course, Milik is a guy who can get the job done. I really would love to see a lot more of Milik and Vlahovic, if we're being honest. All right, let's move on to the second part of this, which Juventus basically just reporting or just telling you guys that Dusan is out, obviously, with the injury to his adductor region. And Manuel Locatelli will be out for this game against Lecce. Locatelli citing personal reasons. I don't want to speculate. I don't know. Maybe it's floated out there. I have not seen it as of yet what personal reasons Manuel Locatelli out. Is it disciplinary? Is it something going on with him and Max Allegri? Is it some other issues? Maybe he can have his own family issues. Again, don't want to speculate on that, but we'll see how it goes on. The only reason I even comment on that is because we had the talk yesterday about could Locatelli be a candidate long-term for a leadership position. If this is a personal reason that is anything associated with a disciplinary action, not a good look for the future captaincy of Juventus. Though, if we're being honest, right now, Locatelli is not in that category or even in that discussion. But when you have guys like Leonardo Bonucci and then Juan Cuadrado, who are your 1 and 2 of the captaincy right now, fighting on camera during a game, that ain't a good look either. So we need to look at the future, what Juventus can bring, and what kind of leadership they need. Speaking of leadership, Max Allegri I don't even know how else to say this. I don't even know how to get it out, my frustration with this report. I'm just going to go ahead and put this out here. Max Allegri had some comments today during his presser, which he really just talked about who will be playing and who will not be playing against Lecce. Well, he comes out with this commentary saying that Chiesa and Pogba are not in tomorrow's squad. They will not be present against PSG, who cares, and most likely will not even be playing against Inter. Against Inter, the latest reports. How many games have we gone back for right now? Benfica, all these matches. Torino, we talked about the potential of them playing. Empoli, we talked about Chiesa playing against Empoli. No. At this point, he goes on to say, we will evaluate thereafter for the subsequent games. He goes on to say, it's difficult, but Paul Pogba and Federico Chiesa could be with the team at Verona, which is on November 10th, and at Lazio on November 13th. Get the hell out of here, my dude. This is not what I'm here for. And this is why I'm frustrated. And this is why I'm yelling. This is why I'm screaming. I try to hold it in. Can't do it. The reason I'm upset and the reason you should be pissed is this is absolute bullshit from the club and from the coach. There's no part of me that truly believes that it's a really want to take it easy and take it slow and re-getting these guys back into the lineup. I'm sorry. At this point, Federico Chiesa is far surpassed his date of return. And at this point, this is ridiculous. The not playing in Empoli and then playing a little friendly that he played in and scored 2 goals against God knows who. I don't even pay attention. I do not care who he played against. That doesn't do anything for me. That does absolutely nothing for me as a Juventus fan. And obviously, I don't know that it can actually do anything for Chiesa. Is Chiesa obviously not actually recovering? Is Chiesa not looking like the player that he was? If so, then that means Chiesa long-term probably will not be the player that Chiesa was. And I don't want to say wasted your investment, but at this point, it's again another player who ended up with an injury and now is not Juventus quality. I do not think that he is that. I do not think that he's not Juventus quality, but I am not here. I'm absolutely not here for the excuse making and the ideology of not playing Federico Chiesa at this point. It's freaking November. It'll be November before he plays. He's been out long enough. Julian has thrown out other players who have recovered from similar injuries and have been back to play and have been performing at a high enough level. Nearly as high, sometimes higher than the level they left before the injury. This is ridiculous. This is bullshit. And there's only 2 ways that I really want to go about it. Either there is what I just said. Either Chiesa's just not back up to the quality and they can see it and it's obvious and they don't want to force him out there. That's it. I strongly think it's the second. And here's the second issue of what this could be. To me, I think it's Max Allegri wants his excuses. Max Allegri realizes the situation that he's in. Max Allegri, he feels pretty confident that he can continue not to play guys and he doesn't have to really fight for his job. But as long as he has his out in his back pocket, he can go back to, well, I got this guy out and this guy out and this guy out and that guy out. Excuse making 101. Is that what we are? Are we excuses FC? Is that what we're doing? Right now, play your best damn players. Get them back into action. I'm sorry, if Lecce and Empoli and Verona, especially Verona, who's at the level that they're playing at right now, are like, if those are the games that like you are, if we come back with more excuse making and he's not playing against Verona or Lazio, and we're stuck waiting till the restart of the season, get the hell out of here. To me, that's excuse making. That's once again Max Allegri trying to find an out for poor coaching and not getting the job done. I'm not okay with this. Chiesa needs to play. He needs to play now. We want to talk about Paul Pogba. Pogba's another player that, again, I can kind of okay that one a little bit just because I feel like Paul Pogba has something to play for. He wants to play for the French national team. Do I care about the French? I don't give a damn about the French national team. I have no support for the French national team whatsoever. No connection. Do not care. But at the same time, I respect that he wants to play for the national team and that has been something he's been working to get back to. You haven't played all season. At this point, I'm okay with that. Federico Chiesa, there are no excuses. Italy has nothing to play for. A couple friendlies? Is that what you're gonna miss a couple friendlies or something like that? If something were to happen again? No, at this point, the job that pays you, the one that writes you the check that you've been cashing since your arrival a couple seasons, that's the one that matters. And I do not think that it's Federico Chiesa that's keeping him from coming back in, but he needs to get his ass back on the pitch. I'm not okay with this. This needs to get fixed. He needs to play now. I don't care if he's not starting. He needs to suit up and he needs to be available right this instant. All right, let's continue on though with the excuse making from Max Allegri. And here he goes, following right after this, right after the not utilizing guys, he goes to say, I don't like alibis. We performed badly in the Champions League. We have time to recover in the league. We have to work and think game by game. I threw this in there just because I thought I would have ranted. I thought I would have ranted less before this, but I already ranted enough. Again, Max Allegri is lying to you. He loves his alibis, and that's what he wants to have, is another excuse and another reason to say, to give you why he is underperforming and why he is not doing his job. When the truth is, he ain't doing his job. That's it. Allegri's got to go, guys. That's it. I mean, I don't know what to say. He's got to go. Let's continue on, though. Let's talk about the Allegri out train. Well, we have Gazzetta dello Sport who's reporting that at the moment, Allegri's job is not at risk. He's fine. A divorce with Juventus in June is possible if the fourth is not achieved. But a surprise in the winter cannot be ruled out. Let's let that settle in. Let's let that really take that in of where Juventus is right now. And I don't care what anybody says. The club has lowered their standards. The club has no standards at this point. The Juventus that you knew and loved for the last few seasons, they ain't here right now. They're not doing it. They're not operating this way. A divorce with Juventus in June is only possible basically if the fourth is not achieved. So if he doesn't make fourth place. That's what it takes at this point. Multiple seasons of barely eking in at fourth place have been good enough, have been approved by the club. And you're trying to tell me that right now, Max Allegri, his bar for potential firing is if he doesn't make fourth place. You're telling me the second season in, purchasing guys, you made the purchases. Pogba, Chiesa's here to stay. Di Maria, I don't care what happens to them. They got injured. That's not an excuse. I'm sorry. You made the choices to purchase these players. However you manage them, however the Juventus, the medical team operates, that's your problem. I'm sorry. You're up shit creek. That's your issue. But right now, that's where my problem sits right now with Juventus. It's, again, excuse after excuse after excuse. And now they lowered the bar to say, if he doesn't make fourth place, then we'll consider firing him. Like, get out of here. No way in hell should that be the acceptance bar. Fourth place should not be acceptable. Fourth place is the floor. I don't know what else to say. All right, let's continue on. The second part of this, Calcio Mercato reporting say that it is not unthinkable that Andrea Agnelli could also pay the price for the current situation. Maybe not in the centenary year of the Agnelli family, but there is also other members of the family capable of doing the job. At this point, if he's not willing to make the difficult decisions, it ain't a difficult decision. It ain't hard, bro. I'm just telling you, it's not a hard decision. Get Max Allegri out of here. He's not doing his job. Like, I don't know what else to say. I really don't know what to do here. I really don't know. Like, to me, again, I'm not here for the spin that's going to happen. You know the spin I'm talking about. We're going to come in here after the Lecce match and pretend that everything's good. People are going to be celebrating. People are going to be excited. You're going to see all kinds of stuff out there about Juventus. Oh, yeah, we beat Lecce. I'm sorry. Lecce is not a Juventus quality opponent. You should win that game. We'll continue to see what happens there. Though, if Agnelli actually does feel the pressure on his job, you know, we have Lapo and other guys out there who are ready to go, maybe to step in that role, maybe actually do the job well. I do want to say, though, as I've said plenty of times on the channel, I respect Andrea Agnelli on all the work that he's done for the last decade. So I'm not really ready just to go ahead and just have a full-out assault on him. But the more and more time goes by with more and more piss-poor performances, more and more excuse-making, more and more supporting a coach that is not good enough and does not care to do a good job, I'm sorry. I'm not here for it. You can't. At this point, you have to realize, like, have some kind of culpability in the situation. Let's continue on, though, with the main story of the day. And that is, of course, the Gazzetta dello Sport is reporting that for the summer, there is a suggestion of Antonio Conte's return to Juventus, Giuntoli as sporting director. So first off, in that first half of this, let me say this. I'm here for that. Give me that. Sign me up. If you bring Giuntoli on, who obviously is working at Napoli right now, who is doing a bang-up job at Napoli right now, if you see the way that they're performing and you see the moves that they made in the Mercato, yeah, that's a guy I can get behind. You combine him with Antonio Conte, and I understand there's going to be a very polarizing issue with the fan base if he comes back. Right now, the fan base is already polarized enough. I understand bringing in a guy like Antonio Conte will turn some people off. Some people who have been strongly opposed. I want to use a more harsh word, but let's say this: strongly opposed to the idea of Antonio Conte even having a star at Juventus at the stadium. The idea of Antonio Conte ever coming back and wearing the black and white as a coach, people don't want that. But hear me out. What other options do you have as a coach? Tell me what other options you would rather have. If you're good for that, that's fine. But here's my issue. Right now, Juventus have put themselves in such a hole that there's only one guy who I know who continuously is a proven product. Everywhere Antonio Conte goes, success follows. He wins the league. He gets Tottenham back into the Champions League. I understand the issues with his performance in the Champions League. That's fine. I'm sorry. I can't even care about the Champions League. Yeah, my bar is lowered that much that I had to focus only on Serie A. Not about being the best and the best in Europe, but being the best of the best in Italy right now. That's what we need to worry about. Antonio Conte will set the foundation for that. He will help this club move forward. And then, yeah, he probably will leave. That's fine. We know that. We are aware of how that happens. When he does leave, guess what? That's why you have a list. That's why you keep that second guy up who you know you're going to turn to. The guy who would jump at Juventus, who will be able to take the reins and run with it. Max Allegri was able to do that the last time. Max Allegri is not a builder. Max Allegri may be a guy who can help keep it afloat. Surprisingly enough, I understand the people that like Allegri because he took them to some heights that they haven't seen since I was 5 years old. Actually, not at 5, because when I was 5 years old, they won it. But actually playing in the finals, right? Just a thought, throw that out there. And then also going on, because Zeta Sports says Juve are thinking about Conte, peace with Agnelli, and a return is possible in the summer. So it's definitely an idea that's floated out there. This is not a fake news story. Just like I will also say the Di Maria stuff coming out yesterday and the day before, him having to hush that, tell you guys to be quiet. It's not true. I don't buy that for a second. I don't buy it for a second. Where there's smoke, there's fire, and there always seems to be. So anyway, let me know your thoughts. Do you think Antonio Conte is a solution? What do we do for the rest of the season? I think at this point, we're all ready to move on from Max Allegri. And I think for there to be healing in this fan base, what we need is a Max Allegri less Juventus. And that's honestly where we need to go, especially as he continues to make piss poor and embarrassing decisions for the fan base. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Do you agree or disagree? I know I was probably very, very polarizing in the video I did today, a lot of ranting, but let me know if you agree or disagree with my comments in the comment section down below. If you haven't already, smash that like button, hit the subscribe button, hit that bell icon, stay notified for all of our latest videos. You can follow me at Justin Sofro. You can follow Julian Genotti at Genotti151. You can follow Alejandro at Alejandro BZ, all on Twitter. And of course, you can follow Bianconerizone, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all that good stuff as well at Bianconerizone. We'll see you guys next time. Forza Juve, Forza Bianconeri. Say hello to your old lady for me. Want more great Juventus content? Check this video down here right below. Click that link. You'll take you to the Pick Is In, one of our latest editions that we're doing here on the channel. Julian and me, head to head, going after each other. Prop bets. Who will win? Who will take all? And who will have to suffer a punishment at the end of the season? Julian, I'm coming for you, boy. Hit that link in the description below. We'll see you guys later.